Let's go Dolphins! The storm is brewing in Miami, and the backstage area is buzzing with moves, strange absences, and enigmatic statements that are putting the fans on high alert. What's going on with Jalen Ramsey? Why aren't the reinforcements arriving where we need them most? And how does the team intend to reach the Super Bowl with so many doubts hanging over the health of key players like Tyreek Hill and the consistency of the cornerback group? Mike McDaniel is trying to stay focused, but there's a strange mood in the air, and the feeling that something big could happen at any moment. Chris Grier, who should have been fired a long time ago, continues to turn a blind eye to the most obvious problems on the roster. I'll tell you everything I know, but before I continue, make sure you've already hit the like button if you've been a Miami Dolphins fan for over 20 years. It's great to see fans of all ages. If possible, comment like this: "Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds aqua and orange." Now hold on tight, because things are getting serious, and there's a lot for us to unravel. Day 2 of OTAs is in the books, and there's no shortage of storylines. First, let's talk about the orange jersey of the day. It went to Storm Duck, a cornerback who's fighting to secure a bigger role, especially with the release of Kendall Fuller and the expected departure of Jalen Ramsey. And that's not just speculation. Ramsey's absence from team activities and Mike McDaniel's cryptic comments make it clear. A trade is looming. Speaking of McDaniel, he made it very clear during his presser that he's not concerned with outside noise or departed players. His focus? The guys who are putting in the work right now. He said, and I quote, "It's quite irresponsible to put down some of the thoughts and focus of the players that we're working with now. He's laser focused on the present." But you've got to wonder if he's sidestepping bigger locker room issues here. Back to the field, let's talk about the action. Cam Smith, our former second-round pick, got torched on a 60-yard touchdown by Jalen Waddle and then limped off with a quad injury. He did return, but the issue with Smith is consistency and health. It's always something. We are dangerously thin at cornerback, and if Grier doesn't address this soon, we could be in serious trouble come September. Jalen Waddle, by the way, was on fire, 2 receptions of over 30 yards, burning Cam Smith, Storm Duck, and Ethan Bonner in the process. Tua Tagovailoa connected with Waddle on those deep shots, and while it's great to see their chemistry still clicking, it's also raising concerns about the secondary's vulnerability. On the defensive side, Bradley Chubb is finally starting to look like the dominant edge rusher we hoped for. He notched 2 sacks on Zach Wilson, including one where he beat Ryan Hayes. Considering Chubb hasn't played in 17 months, this is a huge step forward. Alongside him, rookie Chop Robinson also made noise, showing why he was drafted to be a disruptive force. And while we're on edge rushers, Grayson Murphy, who missed his entire rookie season, made a solid impression by forcing Brett Gabbert out of the pocket. It's encouraging, but again, this is OTAs. No pads, no real contact. It's essentially glorified flag football, so temper those expectations. One huge red flag though, Tyreek Hill. Yes, he was present in running routes, but he wasn't catching balls during 11-on-11s. His right wrist was heavily taped following off-season surgery on both wrists. He's juggling, literally, with a jugs machine and trying to regain full functionality, but it's clear he's not there yet. Drew Rosenhaus says he'll be ready for camp, but his recovery remains something to monitor very closely. Tyreek himself admitted he was initially hesitant about surgery, but now believes it was the right move. He's trimmed down to 183 pounds and is once again eyeing that elusive 2,000-yard mark. The hunger is there, but will the wrist hold up? Offensive line? Still a question mark. Austin Jackson is back from his knee injury and practicing at right tackle. That's good. But James Daniels, who tore his Achilles in Week 4 last season, was absent. The team says he's on track for training camp, but it's hard to feel confident when your projected starting guard isn't even jogging on the sidelines. Veteran presence? Terran Armstead made an appearance, though not in pads. He's technically still a Dolphin, not retired yet, and he was out there mentoring the younger linemen. A great gesture, but let's not mistake mentorship for physical contribution. This team needs bodies who can play. In the backfield, rookie running back Ollie Gordon 3 showed flashes of speed and ability to hit the edge. Alexander Madison, signed in March, had a solid run after a catch from Zach Wilson. On the flip side, Jalen Wright got stripped by safety Elijah Campbell. These are the kinds of small battles that define roster spots. At tight end, with Jonnu Smith absent, it was Tanner Conner who made the most of his reps, catching a nice ball from Tua in 7-on-7s. Conner's looking to prove he belongs after an injury-shortened 2023, and this was a good start. So Dolphins fans, with all this action and drama just in the first couple days of OTAs, the question now is this: how confident are you in the current roster construction, especially with the looming trade of Jalen Ramsey and the glaring depth issues in the secondary? Because the reality is, we can't ignore the elephant in the room any longer. This team is dangerously close to walking into the regular season with one of the thinnest and most injury-prone cornerback groups in the entire league. And what has Chris Greer done about it? Nothing substantial. Instead of reinforcing the unit after Ramsey's inevitable trade buzz started circulating, we're left hoping undrafted names like Storm Duck and oft-injured players like Cam Smith somehow develop into shutdown defenders overnight. That's not a strategy, that's desperation. Meanwhile, the edge rush looks promising, but it's being built on hope rather than depth. Bradley Chubb is finally looking like himself, and Chop Robinson is flashing potential. But we're still dealing with Jalen Phillips recovering from a knee injury. He didn't participate in team drills, and while the team says he's progressing, there's no clear timetable for his full return. Again, we're banking on health to solve problems that should have been addressed in the offseason. And don't even get me started on the offensive line. Sure, Austin Jackson being out there is encouraging, but the silence around James Daniels is deafening. Torn Achilles injuries aren't a minor thing. It's a brutal injury for an offensive lineman who has to plant, pivot, and explode on every snap. Training camp is right around the corner, and we don't even know if he'll be in full participation. If Daniels can't go, what's the plan? Because I haven't seen a contingency move, and there's no veteran depth waiting in the wings. It's just another example of Greer's reactive rather than proactive approach. Now, let's shift to the quarterback situation for a moment. Tua looked sharp, especially connecting deep with Jalen Waddle. But while those plays look great on paper, they came against backups and depth corners like Ethan Bonner. Let's be honest, if the offense wasn't dominating in these conditions, it would be a bigger concern. There's no real pass rush, no live tackling, it's flag football out there. So before we start printing playoff tickets because of a couple of clean deep balls, let's see how this unit handles real pressure once the pads come on. As for the backups, Zach Wilson is your new number 2, and he had a mixed day. Some solid completions, but also a pair of ugly passes and at least one play where he got swallowed up by Chubb. This is the guy who's supposed to step in if Tua goes down? It's another massive gamble that could derail the entire season. And this brings us to Tyreek Hill. Yes, he says all the right things. Yes, he's in great shape and mentally focused. But those wrists? That's a huge deal for a guy whose entire game is predicated on speed and precision catching. He's downplaying it, and so is the team. But if he's not at 100% by camp, we've got a real problem. Because without Tyreek drawing double teams, defenses can key in on Waddle, and suddenly the whole offensive dynamic shifts. This isn't just about catching a few deep balls. This is about whether our most dynamic playmaker can even be himself by the time the season kicks off. And what about the younger guys trying to break through? Taj Washington, the 7th-round pick, was in a red non-contact jersey, still dealing with injuries from last year. Jonah Monheim, our 2nd-round pick on the offensive line, got beat for a sack in drills. These are supposed to be our future contributors, but so far, it feels like we're still stuck in developmental mode, hoping someone emerges instead of planning for impact. It's also frustrating because the potential is there. You see flashes, whether it's Chubb coming alive, Waddle slicing through coverage, or Tyreek pushing through adversity. But potential alone doesn't win Super Bowls. Smart management, solid depth, and proactive planning do. And right now, we're short on all three. So let me ask you this, Dolphins Nation, with the questions around the secondary, the O-line uncertainties, and Tyreek's health, do you feel like this team is truly ready to make a Super Bowl run? Or are we just hoping lightning strikes again in a bottle that's already showing cracks? Comment below, what are you most concerned about heading into training camp? And don't forget, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out the video on your screen right now for more Dolphins coverage. Let's keep this conversation going. Fins up!